Hello and welcome to Audioblog, where we embark on an exciting journey through the world of technology. And today, we'll be shining a spotlight on women in STEM. This podcast is proudly presented by Technophiles, the Computer Science Department of Bharati College, University of Delhi. I am your host, Aditri R, and today we have the privilege of speaking with an exceptional guest whose accomplishments and insights promise to inspire and empower. Join us as we delve into her journey and explore the groundbreaking contributions in this domain. Let's give a warm welcome to our phenomenal guest today, Aliza Shamsi. Aliza is a true jack of all trades. She's an assistant risk consulting associate at Moody's, a dedicated student mentor, a top voice in her field, and the dynamic host of the podcast Dreams and Doubts. Her impressive academic background includes a Master of Science in Statistics and a Bachelor of Science Statistics with Computer Science from Lady Shri Ram College. Beyond her professional accomplishments, she is also an accomplished public speaker, singer, writer, orator, and poet. With 1,000 plus freshers mentored, 17 speaker sessions held, and numerous guest speaking engagements at esteemed institutions, she's truly an inspiration. Welcome, Alisa. How are you?
Hi Aditri, hi everyone. Everyone who's listening, very good day to all of you. I'm doing really good. I hope that it's the same for all of you. And thank you for inviting me over. It's great to share this space with such lovely young women and excited to share what I have in store.
It's great to have you here. So, the first question I have for you is what's a recent advancement in STEM that excites you the most?
I think for me, the advancement in STEM actually comes from equality and how companies treat their employees equally. So I think the one advancement, and I'm not sure if it is very specific to women in STEM, but in most STEM companies, what I've seen is the concept of paternal leaves. So until now, we had maternal leaves, but now companies are moving towards paternal leaves, encouraging the fact that the responsibility of a child does not rely solely on the shoulders of the mother. It is also written with the father. So I think that kind of an initiative really touched me. It's not a technical advancement, so to say, but something that I truly like and appreciate. So yeah, that would be.
This would be, we could say, a breaking of barrier. So, speaking of breaking barriers, let's dive into the world of women in STEM. So, Aliza, what initially drew you to this path?
Sorry, what exactly do you want to ask?
I'm asking, what is the reason that you came into the field of STEM?
Okay. So, that's a good question and something that I also keep reflecting on. But again, this is something that I haven't been able to find the answer to yet because I'm not sure if STEM was my true calling or if was it because of choicelessness. I still am yet to figure it out. But I think to answer this question, I would like to go back to my school days wherein I was like torn between should I do journalism or should I do statistics. I want to do something in the applied mathematics section, but then I also was interested in sharing my opinions out. So journalism was one thing that I was really interested in. What led me to choose this path was eventually, I think what you have to realize is where do you find your true calling, and you have to gauge the pros and cons of it, not just philosophically, but also pragmatically, practically. So when I went into the practicalities of both the spheres, I uh, thought that I talked to a lot of people who were in these fields, and based on their feedback and based on how my trajectory might look like, I think I took that practical decision of coming into STEM. Um, so that was like my parts. There was nothing fancy. I don't think there's anything emotional or anything fancy that I can share. But I think for most people, STEM is like a default choice, and so was with me because it is. so much in vogue right now. Everyone's talking about it. We see success stories all across tech. So it's a very lucrative place to be in, and I'll be honest in admitting that that did allure me to some extent.
So, what are your actual thoughts on companies and organizations that promote diversity and inclusion, specifically in STEM companies?
Um, we have I think this trend has started uh, right now. That people are talking about women in STEM. People are talking about equality, diversity. So every company, almost every multinational company, has this pillar of theirs, which is called a DEI, which is diversity, equality, and inclusion. Even at Moody's, we have something called inclusion. So this is just to ensure that everyone feels included and that there is no kind of tolerance to any such behavior or any such comments that people might just pass to other people who are probably not similar to how they are. So I think this is a very great initiative, I would say, and the way that the way that people are appreciating it and acknowledging it also comes from the fact that companies are encouraging it a lot. They are doing these kind of events where these kind of communities can come together and they can actually feel included and respected in the organization. But I think having that to ensure that no harassment of any kind happens at these companies. But I think what we also need to ensure is that by saying that we are including people who are little different from us, we don't make them feel excluded. You understand what I'm trying to say is that when you do something very special for them, they might just feel like they have a special privilege or they are being treated differently. Even as a female, I often feel like I don't want extra respect from anyone, nor do I want any less respect than my male counterparts. So
I
I just
think
want to be
this
treated
is
like,
the difference between
yeah,
equity and equality, you could say.
exactly,
We
exactly,
deserve the same reactions that
exactly,
the our male counterparts get.
exactly, exactly. You rightly pointed out that's the difference between equity and equality. Exactly. I don't
This,
want to
we
feel
could
good.
say, is
Yeah,
one of the
there is
reasons why we need more women in STEM as our representatives and people we could look up to as role models.
that is so well. That is so well done. Yes, that is so well.
So, considering our topic, I have a question. But who might be your favorite woman in STEM?
Aditri, I would say that there are a lot of women that I look up to. Even, somebody I know of, yeah, even somebody who is working in my department or in my team, I look up to them as well, how they're managing, especially females that I see managing both their families and their office work together so smoothly without, showing an inch of regret or an inch of tiredness. I think that inspires me every single day. But if I have to pick one person out, I don't think that this is like it's the first person, the first lady that comes to my mind is Nirmala Sitharaman, because our finance minister. She, like when I look at her with coming out with that budget document in her hand and being followed by so many men and women behind her, that just makes me feel like okay, like she gives me that boss lady vibes because it's finance has always been a sector which has been male dominated. Even like, we're always told that females don't manage money very well. We don't handle finances of our individual households, and it's the men who take that responsibility. And usually, you see that all the CFOs that you will see are mostly men. But here we are, a woman leading the finance sector of the world's largest democracy. That really like makes me feel very, very proud as a woman and it breaks a lot of taboos and stereotypes
Areas.
that.
Also,
Yeah,
considering
correct.
that she's the only finance minister to have presented the seventh budget in a row, I think that points out more to her capabilities as a person. Love that
Definitely.
she's breaking so much barriers of how men should not be the only ones who are only, keeping their places in high positions. So, what are some
That is
unique obstacles that you think women in STEM often face? Obviously, there's the finance
yeah.
category, but then specifically for STEM.
So specifically for STEM, I think what they face is that people often misunderstand them as weak in mathematics or weak in technical aspect of things. So women have always been looked up to for their communication or for their presentability, because the way we present ourselves and how we're looking, how we're dressed up, that actually intimidates people a bit. But that's just it. They just think of us as people, as women who who will be very presentable in front of a client if we like were to put them on the forefront and ask them to communicate. We've always been considered good in communication, but when it comes to back end work, when it comes to the actual hustle, we're often taken as people who are presumed to not be good at it. So maybe that opportunity, the first chance, is where, if I may say so, is that is something that people or women in general struggle in STEM, because I'm not sure if you've heard of this guilty till proven innocent. So
I've
what
heard of
what
it.
happens with women in yeah, what happens with women is they are considered to be unskilled until proven skilled in when it comes to technical aspects of it, like very deep technical aspects of it. Let's say coding ho gaya, ya fir, it's about finance, it's about sales, and it's about any kind of back end work that
Like
you
talking
need.
about how you have to be, people undermine you until that you prove that, and you have to keep on proving that until you reach a certain point. And still, then
Exactly.
you're also not really like recognized for your capabilities or your work.
Absolutely. And yeah, absolutely. And there are actually, Aditri, what I have seen is that there are certain innate skills that people assume are associated with women, and there are
Agreed.
a few which are associated with um,
Men and
females. Because,
other,
yeah, and
yeah,
men and women, right? And they think that, okay, what is it that we're talking about? Okay, we're talking about money. Okay, then I think that person might be able to do it. So that's the first impromptu reaction that anyone gets. Yeah, so that kind
considering
of
that some fields are
stereotyping.
specifically made for women, and then saying certain stereotypes attached to that specific group.
Correct,
I would say
correct.
I have seen that a
Correct.
lot. Specifically, we could see that in cooking, I guess, like how it's been this thing ki women should cook in the kitchen, but then when you see the chefs, they're like mainly male oriented in professional fields.
Yes, that's a very very good example. That's a very very good example. Very relevant.
So what's a practical advice that you would give to a woman who is facing such issues in her field?
So I think the one advice that I would want to give them is to confront, because if you do not confront, you will be bound to think the same way as the other people are. So, first of all, you need to understand that if they are saying makes sense or does it not. Maybe I don't want to let out this notion that whatever feedback you're getting from the other people is very biased. It can be very unbiased also. So let's say tomorrow my manager tells me that, Aliza, this is not something that you've done well, and I have a male colleague and he is being praised. I should not take it immediately as a biased opinion from them. I should first gauge whether or not was I like what was it that I did wrong. I'll just talk to maybe that person how he did his part, and I would want to understand maybe I was the one lacking, and I'm just overthinking it, or I'm just attaching like a women angle to it. If that's not the case, then I would go to my manager and I'll just just confront what was it that you did not like, and do you think that I have been performing well previously, and is it this project that I did not perform well, or is it the previous projects also? I would like to take that kind of a feedback, and if in case I feel like it was my fault, I would acknowledge it and maybe better it up and then see how the person is reacting. Or if that person does not have any solid backing to his feedback, then I would definitely have like a conversation with them and try to understand where that person is coming from. And I think it's very important to show your metal, show your skill set, and it is okay to tell them that, okay, this is not something that I knew of, I will work on it. However, why did you criticize me on these aspects? Because I think I did my 100% even better than my other counterparts or my other colleagues. So I think that is this kind of discussions and understanding going back and forth would really help. And I would just one advice that I would want to suggest is don't just bring the male angle or female angle everywhere, because it might not be the case everywhere. If you like in these kind of discussions, if you just say that I think I did well in these aspects, I did better than my other like the other team members or people who you faced. Just say that. Don't just say that I think I did it better than my male counterparts. Don't attach it everywhere, because then when you keep iterating on something too often, and when you iterate it at places where it's not required, it starts to lose its value. You get what I'm saying? Because if you just put in the women angle everywhere or feminism flag everywhere, it might just start losing its value, not just for you but even for the other
Yeah.
female
You
yeah.
could say that some problems are not only considered in equalities. Most of the problems, to be honest, uh, equality and inequality are just things that we face in a workplace, in an area. But at the end of the day, it might also depend upon the work of a person done, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's very right. Because biasness is not just male, female. Biasness
Yeah.
can be experience based also. Biasness can be multiple other things also. Bias, and if they're biased based on your skill set or your experience, that might not be considered a bias. Some so to say. So I think understanding where to react and where not to react and how to react is like very important.
You could say that the obstacles, these are the obstacles that people in general find in their workplaces, right? So, my next question would be what's advice that you would give that a person who has no previous background education, just they have done the education part, but they're just new to the workplace and office corporates. So, what's this piece of advice that you would give to someone who is facing an interview for the first time?
What I would want to suggest is focus on your strengths. You might have a very good educational background, that could be your strength. You might have very good subject based knowledge, that just make your strength your key. Because eventually, when you join a company, they are going to teach you the nitties and gritties of everything from scratch. So I come from a statistics background. I know statistics in and out. But even then, when I joined it, I was taught the basic statistics that are required. So I think just focus on your strength. Maybe you could be excellent at communication. I recall that when I interviewed for one of my summer internships at Accenture, I didn't know a lot about machine learning. And they were asking questions about machine learning a lot. But I knew that if they start talking about machine learning, I might not be able to handle those questions because I don't know it. Though it was a data science internship. So what I did was I started off with my introduction and I covered my resume so that I could give them some talking points. And when they started to ask me more about my previous internships and my LinkedIn and these kind of things, I just kept on emphasizing on that. And, that set the floor for the rest of the conversation that we had. Obviously, there were a few technical questions, but they weren't too much because they were mostly when I told them that, I was interested in statistics. Okay. They asked me like, what in statistics were you interested in? Then I told them the name of the paper or the name of the topic that I was interested in, and they started asking me about my own subject. So my strength was that I knew statistics. My strength was that I knew how to communicate. I had a good command over my LinkedIn and my content. So my interview sort of revolved around. So always convey your strengths to them. Even they want to select you. They are not with that notion of not selecting. They're spending their time. They're there to select you. So you just need to communicate the right thing. I think that is very important. You just have to set the base for the communication that they are going to have. I think that is my
Talking of resumes and LinkedIn, what would you recommend someone to keep in mind for LinkedIn and job interviews regarding that?
um. So what they need to keep in mind is that they need to be self-aware. Whatever they've written on their resume, whatever they've written on their LinkedIn, they need to own it. So you can't just write, let's say, I can't write marketing on my resume if I don't know what search engine optimization. You understand what I mean? So every term that you put there, the other person is so basically your resume or your LinkedIn or whatever portfolio you've shared with them, that is the fodder for the interview. They are only going to ask you about things that you have done because obviously they also don't want to waste their time on asking you things that you do not know. So they're just going to ask you those things and how self-aware you are. What are the things that you've done? Do you actually own those things or did you just do it for the sake of it? So I think being self-aware, knowing yourself, knowing what you have done, so your experiences, your even let's say if I go ahead and tell them that I like to write, I like to read books, they are going to ask me questions about that. Okay, what was the last book you read? Which is your favorite author? They might also ask you some thought-provoking questions. Let's say that do you think that books are losing their values right now? They can ask you these kind of questions. So whatever you know, you should know it completely and own it. And even if it's about your own strengths and weaknesses, these are definitely questions that you should.
Speaking of books, what's your favorite book or poetry? As you have said that you are a quite avid poet.
My favorite poet will have to be "Stopping by Woods in a Snowy Evening" by Robert Frost. And I really like the last paragraph of it where it says, "The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises and miles to go before I sleep and miles to go." So I think for me also, I think there is a lot that I need to do in my life, and I've just started off. So there is a lot that needs to be done. But having said that, in that hustle, in that race, I will never forget to stop by and appreciate and look back at the path that I've come by and that I have covered, and want to appreciate and stop and have fun and not take things very seriously. While I do have ambitions, I also know that uh, there is there is a surrounding that I have that I need to appreciate and find time to appreciate. That will be mine. What about you? What is it? Book poetry.
Poetry. I have actually started reading Emily Dickinson. I haven't really gotten into it. I've just started, but she's quite good. Uh, it's not like the verses stay with me, but the words
Mhm.
I may not remember, but they still stay with me. Like, oh, I think Emily Dickinson wrote this. I was
Okay.
just passing by from the like just going through the road, and like I saw a tree and I was like, Emily Dickinson wrote something like this. It was just like some poets
Okay.
just stay with you. I think
Mm-hmm.
she is
Okay.
one of them.
That's nice.
I
That's
would
nice.
actually say
That's nice.
Robert Frost is also one of them because I remember reading one of his poems about crows and trees and snow, and it just
Okay.
reminds me of it's a very mournful poem though. So
Okay.
I
Yeah,
think I
Robert
read
Frost
more
does
about
have that
death
thing.
about in poems than in books. I'll be honest.
Yeah, even I don't read too many books. Like I don't think I finished any one particular book ever. I'm not a big book.
I might have been a very big book fan. You can see from behind. Started
Yeah, yeah,
reading when I
yeah.
was like 9, I think. Never stopped. I still completed one book yesterday called Eleanor and Park. I think not the best, but very 2013, 2011 kind of book. I was
Oh,
reading it
that's
all
good.
and I was like, I feel like I've read this on Tumblr.
Oh, okay, that's nice. I mean, I think you have a very good identity memory. Kind of join the dots in
Yeah,
general.
I just don't remember the words itself. I just remember the vibe of the what the
Yeah,
poet or the author tries to narrate.
yeah. But
Uh,
I think that's what's important also. You
yeah.
don't need to know the technical.
So going back to technicalities, you are an passionate advocate for mentorship. So how can newbies or like find find mentors and how can they make the most of these relationships?
So Aditri, mentorship and networking or relationships like they're very, very long term. They can't be
Hmm.
built overnight. So what I usually suggest people to do is start with their immediate, whosoever is their immediate senior in their college or in whatever they are doing. People who are 1 year, 2 years senior to them, reach out to them first because they have been in your shoes. They have been through the situation that you are going through, right? So first of all, find your seniors who can become your buddies, who can become your mentors. And it will not be just about your work, but if you find those that kind of friendship, that kind of a bond with your seniors, I think they'll also help you in a lot of other things and listening out to you, and they will understand your, and they are the easiest to reach out. Let's say you message someone or randomly on LinkedIn, they might just not reply instantly, or they might take time to like tease out with you. It is a very long process. But if you reach out to your mentors who are your seniors, basically they are going to be mostly available because they're usually won't be very busy, but and also they know you, and they also have certain kind of obligation towards their junior. So I would say that, because any which way, like if a junior messages me today, who is my immediate junior from college, I feel more obliged to respond to that person first and not a random message that I got. So, that is once reach out to your seniors, and in case they feel like you need some more expert kind of an advice, they are going to be the one who will act as a gateway and they will get you connected with the right person. So I think the easiest way is to stay in touch with girls. I think when I was in undergrad, this was the biggest mistake that I did. I didn't leverage my alumni network. But when I came to post graduation and now when I'm in office also, I have dedicated seniors whom I just keep pestering and मैं दिमाग खा जाती हूँ anytime I have any small issue. So yeah, that is will be my sense.
So talking about the amazing things that women are achieving in STEM, what advice do you have for aspiring female in STEM or technological fields?
Aditi, I would say that to all the women who are hearing me out and who might just, enter or land into STEM field or any field for that matter, I think one advice that I would always want to give them is that stay true to yourself and don't change based on what the other people are doing, based on what the other people are doing. So just be true to yourself, true to your personality. Have a personality that people would want to look up to you. Develop that kind of personality that people know you outside of your beauty, outside of your uh, gender, outside of your have that kind of a metal that you you become irreplaceable. So I think that also will come from working on your strengths because everyone is so different in their own beautiful ways, be it men, be it women. But women, especially, the first thing that people usually look at is how are they looking, or how beautiful are they? Because that's the one, quality you can say that we have innate. But have that kind of persona that people just find you like anytime you enter or walk into a room, people feel like looking up, people feel like you know standing up, or people feel like anytime you pass by, people turn around, how strongly and how beautifully, or how you know how strong, or the kind of you understanding my point,
Yeah,
uh,
definitely.
so yeah, people actually want
Looking
would
up to
want
role
to
models,
come and talk
become the
to you.
role models
Correct.
for the new generation.
Yeah, correct, correct, correct. Absolutely.
So, what are your hopes for the future of women in STEM specifically? Is
So
there
I
like
think what
any
I'm
idealized
hoping,
version? I'm actually hoping for a more equal playing field, I guess, getting the same opportunities for any person
yeah,
who is going for an interview.
correct, correct, correct. That is definitely one thing that I think we've talked about it at length also. But I think
Yeah.
it's more about the opportunities that people don't get because of their gender. Because also it also comes from the fact that let's say I want to promote somebody, but then the entire company or the entire organization thinks, okay, what if this person gets married tomorrow? He or she is definitely she's definitely going to leave the job. She's definitely going to get into her leave. She's definitely going to go, she's going to take her period leave. She's going to take her maternity leave. She's going to take all of these leaves because of the society that we are constructed in, because that's how it happens. But I think these kind of barriers, I think we should not see them as barriers. We should see them as something which is very normal, just like sick leaves are very normal for men, just like holiday leaves are very normal for men. So are period leaves, so are maternity, right? So I think these should be taken as normal and should not be considered as this is a special kind of a privilege that we are giving to women because of which they can eventually take undue advantage of it, or they can eventually stop being that loyal or stop being that committed to the organization. So I think aspects associated with women should be taken very normally and should not be taken as a special privilege or something. I think that's my only hope. And I think once that gets down, uh, equality or equity, equality or inclusion in general is going to get better in terms of opportunity.
This has been such a good conversation, I swear. So, what are your top three takeaways for our listeners? And how can the listeners become active advocates for such change?
Okay. So I think just to, if I were to wrap everything up, would just want to highlight these three takeaways, like you said. First of all, is definitely work on your strengths, develop that kind of personality that people look up to and make you irreplaceable in what you do. Second of all is know your worth and don't let anyone undermine you for what you are. So it's I won't say that you have to be always be very vocal or rebellious about it, but make yourself available to other people so that they can also see that you are very much like them. So there is a way that you handle these kind of situations at your workplace or whichever. And I think lastly, just have fun. Don't take too much pressure. I think this one advice may not be related to the conversation we had today, but just take life easy. I mean, you never know whether how you're going to be in the next 2 years. You don't even know what your life is going to be tomorrow. So just focus on what you're doing right now and just have fun, because I have seen that there are a lot of women, or even men in general, they sort of plan their lives too much, too stringently, that they fail to acknowledge what they have right. So, just have an ambition, but just don't work too tirelessly, too tirelessly towards it that you forget to enjoy the journey, I would say. So yeah, that
It
would
reminds
be
me of
one
that
word
one
I like.
sentence: all play, no play, and no, what was it? All work and no play
All work,
makes
no play.
Jack a dull boy.
Correct, correct, correct. Absolutely. I just make sure that I have good fun in my life, because these are the memories that are going to stay with me.
Well, you do only live once, so a very great
Absolutely. Yeah.
advice for our listeners today. Thank you, Aliza, for sharing your incredible journey and insights, and you truly are an inspiration to us all. That's a wrap
Thank you.
on That's a wrap on another impactful episode of Audio Blog. And let's continue to break down barriers and create a more inclusive future in STEM. Do not forget to check out Technophiles for more such resources and such events, and stay tuned for more events and podcasts. Until next time, stay curious, stay fearless, and keep shattering those productivity barriers. Thank you, Aliza. You were amazing. It was great having you again.
Thank you, Aditi. Thank you to the entire team. I just hope all the guys the very best. And have a good Sunday. Enjoy.
Have a great week ahead. Best of luck.
Thank
Thank you.
thank you to you too. Bye.
Bye bye.